in these matters, the country which is in forefront is United States. And all the innovations, everything happens there.
So just right here, please.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. In your experience working across different fields and with the advent of all this data collection and the tools we have to present it, do you find any resistance to using these tools and to using analytics? And if so, why?
I do see a lot of resistance. First of all, right now there is a lot of attraction towards analytics. The main reason being there are many jobs. But however, when they start learning it structurally, formally, then they find it's not easy. So there are a lot of statistics, mathematics, machine learning things that you would do, whereas many people probably at some point of their career, they left maths because they think that's not so interesting, dry. But when you are an adult learner who has worked for a while and then the management says, okay, learn these things, then becomes a problem because first of all, the learning curve is steep. At the same time, you may find somebody else coming in, maybe younger folks who probably are doing it very fast because they are, they are born in a different generation. So I'm working with some of the organizations which are banking organizations, they are battling with this attitude.
So the flip side of that might be overenthusiasm. You might we know that big data has become this buzzword over the past decade, plugging in these massive data sets to improve our lives, our way of working. Is it also the case that some organizations will find or will hope that they can just plug in big data and automatically things are going to get better? Do you find that there's a lack of, maybe a lack of thought into how to actually use these tools in the best way?
That's right. It's like, whenever there is I would say analytics has become a fashion these days. Big data is also a fashion, but what you do not understand is the technicalities behind it. A lot of people understand big data as large data sets. It's not just that. Yes, it is large, but then you have the complexity in the data sets. Earlier, what you had, we call it structured data. That means numbers, etc. Those are structured data. However, these days data comes in a different shapes and forms: video data, audio data, text data. Now, when you are building models for automation, what you need to do is transform this data into structured data. Now, that is a data engineering process. And there, you need to, that's highly technical. So you understand that we are talking here and that can be digitized and then a model can be built with it. You need special set of people who can do that and then put it in the proper framework so that you can have the solutions to these problems. Now this is a lot of investment. One is on the infrastructure side, people side, and also buy-in for from the senior management. So if your boss who is heading the team, not a technical guy, he will not understand all these nuances. And for something which may take about months, they will put a timeline of 15 days. And it's bound to fail. So this kind of expectation mismatch also is a problem to, failure of such projects.
And of course, the vast majority of data science projects don't move past the ideation phase. We read one statistic that suggested the number was as high as 87% of projects don't move beyond that. What are the reasons for these types of failures and how do we overcome them and move beyond that?
Okay, first of all, you start with the top. The management, they have to do their homework in the sense, at least, they don't have to build models, but what they have to do, understand the field to some extent, either going through structured, 1 day, 2 day training, or doing their literature search. These days it's very, very easy. You just do Googling, you come to know about these things. That's number one. And another thing is what one has to do is start small. Probably you have multiple teams who should be doing maybe something similar. You have an internal competition. And then have a manager who is just not good as a manager, is also a technical person, who will be the middleman in the sense who can tell the management, so these are the complexities, and at the same time guide the junior team members who are expert in technicalities but may not be that expert in terms of business understanding or communication. In these matters, the country which is in forefront is United States. All the innovations, everything happens there. They have a legacy of 50, 60 years of doing such things, and that's how they have reached this status. So here, if someone is starting just a year ago or so, do not expect that you reach that stage overnight. I will give you an example where, long time ago when I was doing something in Citibank, there were a bunch of guys who are MBAs from very good schools. They were trying to solve a problem, and one guy came to me and he was doing it using Excel, and he did it. He said, I worked on it for 3 days. Yeah. And there was a auditor. They said that we want an alternative person giving the same solution and prove to us that you have done it correctly. So I was the checker. And what I did, I didn't take the Excel path. I used something called conjoint analysis using SAS. And it took me just 5 minutes to solve that problem. So that's the power of analytics, if you know it, how.
And do you think, we're here in Singapore, do you think Singapore is doing a good enough job to foster that generation of trained professionals?
What I have observed in Singapore is since I'm in this profession and I am an academician now, I do see what kind of jobs are getting available in the market. I do see the job descriptions are slowly changing. Like maybe 3 years ago, the data science job description, they will say we require people from IT background, etc., etc. Slowly it's changing. They are saying statisticians, computer scientists, operations research people. So industry is understanding what lies behind these techniques. Who are the people who are suitable for this? So job roles are also changing. So I would say it's going in the right direction. We as Institute of System Science, we are having exponential growth in terms of getting more and more students who wants to do, data science short courses, whatever we have to offer. And we have all courses, executive education courses, they are all fully booked and we have long waiting list. So it's showing that people are getting interested. Whereas in the beginning, I used to get students who are coming because they are sent by their departments to attend some courses. So there is a real hunger, I must say, that in the audience, not because of course, there are many jobs available, that's important, but probably people are realizing that there is some fun to it as well, if you really learn it in a structured manner.
I see. Fascinating. Well, it's only going to grow and grow, and we thank you for taking the time and explaining this a bit to us. That's all the time we have for today. I'm Shashank Bengali. Thank you for joining us on Coffee and Conversation, and we'll see you next time.
Thank you, Shashank.